Firstly, like, I don't want to, like, I know there's a lot of new people here, and I don't want to say, like, I don't want to, like, pretend like I have, I'm not here to kind of destroy or to, I suppose the correct word in my mind is, like, plunder off of the misfortune of other people or anything like that. I just want to be able to talk about my experience and, like, kind of talk about my view of everything that's been happening lately as well. So yeah, if you're kind of here to, like, maybe try and find information about people or other VTubers in an attempt to, like, hurt them or spread drama, that's not gonna happen. Although I have to be honest, like, I think people have been handling this kind of situation with VShojo pretty well, so I'm kind of happy about that. Like, to see everyone donate to the charity is really big, and I'm really happy to see. Yeah, the VTubing sphere is really a mess, I feel. I don't know how to even begin about this. Like, I want to express my condolences to all of the talents, of course, in VShojo. And I want to express my condolences to Iron Mouse, of course, who has done so much, not just for the VTubing community, but also for many various charities, including the IDF charity. And I'm so, like, I'm very much amazed by her ability. Like, even if I haven't necessarily had that many interactions or never really collabed with her in a formal sense, we have spoken privately in the past, and I think that she's an amazing person, and she is a really sweethearted kind of individual, and I feel awful for her. You guys know that I wouldn't kind of bring this kind of stuff up, but I feel like it's been something that's been on my chest a little bit, and I just want to express my condolences to her. I know that it's awful, and I hope that we get, like, some form of response sometime soon from the relevant persons, right? I am very appalled, to be honest, by VSJ's kind of business practices and how they withheld money from the talents. Like, I think it's so important to state this, that that's a really hard thing to go through. Like, being a content creator it's not as hard as a 9-to-5, but it's not easy, and it's very mentally difficult. It's a very mental, cerebral kind of war, and not being able to pay your content creators is really bad. It's pretty bad. Like, we live off of this too. This is how we keep the lights on. This is how we put food on the table. This is how we manage to do projects and do things for you guys. That's why it's so, like, I'm very grateful for my community. Everyone I've met is very grateful for theirs as well. And this is also why I make it a point, and a lot of people I know, my friends, make it a point to pay editors and pay artists on time, assuming they give you the finished project or whatever the kind of layout of the payment kind of plan is. But it's because you really don't know who is relying on the money to be able to subsist. We don't know if somebody needs the next paycheck because they need to pay for something very important. Maybe they have student loans, maybe they have a debt to pay, maybe they have a promise to keep to somebody where, in a monetary sense, or maybe, simply put, they just need to keep the lights on. They need to put food on the table. Everyone needs to eat. It's not easy. That's why I'm not very judgmental about these things, because I understand even when people clickbait in a way that's distasteful for me sometimes, or uses other people's names, in a way that I don't like. I kind of understand, because I'm too empathetic, where I know that you need to pay your bills. You know what I mean? So not a company withholding money like that is really fucked up, especially if it's over the course of half a year or 3, 4, 5 months. You know what I mean? It's really awful. Like, I'm not gonna line, I've never experienced that, nor have I ever had anybody from Wendy's tell me they've ever experienced that before. Like, the one really good thing that Wendy's was good at was they were on time with their payments every single day, and the calculations, like, as you guys know, I'm into financing. My grandfather was an accountant. I do all my accounting stuff. I would account for everything, and they were always right, like, to the cent. And Wendy's was always on time with payment. Like, there was only one time where they weren't, and it was 2 weeks delayed. It was nothing. You know what I mean? So sometimes they would even pay us in advance for things that they didn't receive yet. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it takes a while for merchandise to reflect money-wise, but then Wendy's would pay us the money that wouldn't reflect yet, right, on their bank accounts. So I appreciated that transparency. And when I got into Wendy's, I was so incredibly, I had nothing. Like all my money had went to kind of debuting and everything, and I had put all my eggs in one basket. So being able to kind of have those paychecks on time was essential to me, for me to subsist. And people in VShojo not being able to receive that kind of necessary funds, I don't know their financial situation. I don't claim to know, but not being able to receive those in a time frame that was respectable or agreed upon is really fucked up. It's really difficult. And I've been seeing a lot of differing opinions about this on the timeline. Like now a lot of people are becoming very extremist in one way, and I don't want that. Like I don't want people to like jump to one side where they all say that all corpos are bad, or corpos are really awful, or you shouldn't ever join a corporation, blah blah blah. But I think it's important that I send this message to you guys, because the message in part that I want to send, that I feel you guys can take home, is that you should join a corpo if you think that it's something that'll work for you. But I think that it's important that you read the fine print. You know what I mean? Like I say that joining corpos are great under a few stipulations, and those stipulations are as follows, right? Number one, you need to understand the legal kind of repercussions and the legality of your contract. Like really read it and get somebody to read it for you. Okay. Number two, you need to be honest with yourself. People who join corpos need to be honest with themselves about what they're looking to get from the corporation. This is the problem. Like a lot of young people join these corporations and have no idea what they want out of it. Like it's important to ask yourself and to sit down and say, what do I want out of this? And this kind of moves on to point number 4, which is like, where do you see yourself in the future? You know, like you can't just ask, what do I want out of this? But you have to ask it from a perspective of looking from it in the future, you know? Like you need to know if you're okay being in the corporation, if you think that there is a good upside to it, you need to ask yourself if you're okay being in the corpo for a year or two. And if you're not okay with being in the corpo for a year or two, that's fine. That's literally what I felt like when I was in Wendy's. But the difference is, I knew that I could leave anytime that I wanted. You know what I mean? I told myself, I'm going to be here for a year and a half or 2 years, but that's as far as I see myself going unless that something changes. And I think the final reason that people and corpos don't work and mix well is because they're not willing to follow the corpos like ethos, right? You're not willing to kind of conform to what the corpo wants you to conform to. You are signing a contract, so there are things that you have to conform to in a specific way. The reason why I'm telling you all of this is because it's just a fair warning to people who, number one, want to join a corporation. I still think it's very viable. You just need to read the fine print and to be careful. And number two, I don't like to see any extremist talk on Twitter. I hate it when I see people going like, all corporations are bad, or this is why indie is, you know, the only way to go, blah 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 blah. Like, you can be proud of being an indie. I really love being an indie, but you don't have to, like, you know, say that, oh, if you're not indie, you're stupid. And I don't want people from like Wendy's or HoloLive or HoloStars to ever catch this flack where they're like, oh, why are you in this? Like, they're there for a specific reason. I can't really talk about it. I know a lot of the reasons why they're there, and trust me when I tell you that it's valid. You know what I mean? It's just, people need to understand that there are just so many different factors to consider here. And I don't really like seeing it on Twitter where people are just like, oh my God, if you join a corporation, you're black. Joining a corporation was the best thing I did, you know? Like, I enjoyed doing that. It gave me the platform that I have now. It just wasn't working for me anymore after a year and a half. That's one. Please be kind. You know, I just want you guys to be kind to yourselves and to people as well on Twitter. So do that. Now I want to talk about kind of my own experience with VShojo and kind of talk about like, and I don't want to pretend like I have the most insane experience, because I really don't, but I've always just felt very shady with how they've communicated and everything that they've kind of stood for and kind of done from what I've heard. I also auditioned for VShojo, and through a lot of different like rumors and through the grapevine stuff, I heard that part of the reason that I didn't get in Number one, there was one reason which I can't talk about right now because I would be it would require too many details, but it was not a good reason. This one reason was not good. Like, it was like very, very sus and very like, wait, I'm not being even considered because of this. Yeah, this was after Wendy's, everyone. And the number two reason was, a part of the reason why I wasn't considered was because there were so many baseless rumors flying out about me that were completely false and with no proof like whatsoever. And not only were they completely false, but they were also very verifiably wrong, like instantly verifiably wrong. Like, there was this kind of like rumor that, people were going like, he was absolutely talking to like multiple girls on his Discord server. Don't talk to Kyrio because he's that kind of guy that is like always just up in everybody's DMs, like talking and blah, blah, blah. And there was stuff like, and I'm like, it takes 2 seconds to see I don't have a Discord server. You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy to even like first off, like, there's no proof. There was never any proof attached to that. And second off, it's like, what Discord server? You know what I mean? Like, I genuinely don't own one. Like, the only Discord server I have, it's so sad. Like, the only one I have is kind of like me, June, and my editors and like other people. Like, this is why I kind of goad people on to speak out about me, because there's no proof. Like, they always never have any proof because it never happened. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I'm always so standoffish online and on stream. I'm so confident and so brazen because I know I've done nothing wrong. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to pick a fight with me because there's nothing to say. There's not going to be anything to say. So that's also, I don't know, there was one other reason I can't really talk about. Yeah, I wish I could talk about the other reason more, but I pinky promised. Like, it was told to me by one of my close friends, and I can't really tell you more about it. But I've just been very disappointed with kind of how they handled the audition kind of system, and not just the auditioning kind of system, but more so their kind of like criteria for auditions. You know, it just was so to me, and how they handled it. And I'm really happy because I never told this to anybody, but like, as of like 3, 4, 5, no, maybe like 6 months ago, like 4, 5, 6 months ago, I was thinking to myself, had VShojo ever reached out to me to like join, I don't think I would have accepted, because I just kind of knew kind of more of the inner workings, and I just was not particularly impressed by their kind of business practice and everything like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very sad, and I'm disappointed at everything that's kind of transpired. And again, my experience isn't necessarily like awful about it, but awful or anything, but to kind of see the criteria in which they kind of judged me upon, and one of which I cannot talk about, and to see other people talk about their auditions and like not receive the light of day about it is really sad, personally. But as for the talents in the company, I really love all of them. Like, I think that they're amazing and they're talented. I might not be particularly close to all of them or talk to all of them, but I think from what I've seen, they're all amazing people, and I wish them the best of luck kind of moving forward. Again, at the end of the day, corporations are very much a business, you know? Like, it's all about generating income and generating profit. And a business is just all about making money. That's what it is. Like, they won't have the same, you know, VShojo won't have the same biases and humanity as a normal content creator will. And that's why I love being indie, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think that corporations can be good. Like, there's a lot of good in them as well. People need to understand too, a lot of people behind the scenes making these executive decisions about like corporations and shit like that, a lot of them don't even like understand VTubing. You kind of get what I mean? Like, you have the board of directors. Like, people think it ends with the CEO, but it doesn't really end with the CEO. You know what I mean? Like, there are people above the CEO. Right? There's like the board of directors, there are shareholders that decide who the CEO is, decide the decisions for the CEO. and stuff like that. And you know, when a company goes public, it's like you just don't know. Like you don't know who's calling the shots, and it's not transparent a lot of the time, you know? So these like board of directors or these people like calling the shots and shit like that, a lot of them are just like 60-year-old balding men, you know, 70-year-old very balding men who don't know anything about VTubing. They barely know about the internet. They're thinking about just what brings more money and looking at numbers and thinking, oh, okay, that's that. It's just because when you really think about it, it's like if I was 60 years old or 70 years old and I was like a billionaire and I invested in a company, and I would look at the papers, and the papers would say every time there's a new wave that debuts, we get more money, yippee. But the thing is like, yeah, you see that, and you see that, oh, okay, so they debuted at this month, and there's, you know, there's like an uptick in money, but you just don't understand the culture. It's like these are people that you're debuting. It's not products that you're debuting. You're not debuting robots or like, God forbid, like AI or anything like that. You're debuting actual people who need support, you know, and they need help. They need to be managed properly. They need resources, and that's just not the case. And I get that a company wants to be profitable, but there really needs to be a good middle ground where, you know, they prioritize the talents while also having some form of like, how do I say, like they prioritize the talents first, you know, like they can think about making money. I get that, like they have people to pay, but almost always prioritizing the talents first is always going to be the best move for everybody. But they just don't know this because, again, they're like 60 years old, 70 years old, even like 50-year-old, even 40-year-old people, you know, 45, 50-year-olds, like they just don't understand what the fuck a VTuber is, bro. Like they were born in 1978 and they're like 48, you know? It's like, what the fuck is a VTuber? All I know is every time there's a debut, we make more money. So let me just keep debuting and keep debuting, and let's just keep debuting, and let's just keep debuting, and let's just keep selling merch, and let's just keep debuting. And it's just like, no, it just doesn't work like that, you know? Like, I know on paper that's what it looks like, because it's easy to read a graph, you know, it's easy to read like a spreadsheet or a pie chart and be like, oh, every time we debut there's just more money. But it's just not like that. You're debuting human beings and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to say, and I'm sad that this is all happening. I'm happy to be an indie, but I don't think that all corpos are evil. I think all corpos are imperfect, and all indies are imperfect as well. There's not a single perfect indie, and there's not a single perfect corpo. Corpos tend to be a little bit more greedy for sure, but I don't think that people should suddenly start jumping on corporations or hating them. And also, I love Wendy's so much. I still appreciate Wendy's so very much. I think about it very often. I think that HoloLive and HoloStars are great places as well. I, you know, don't really know the inner workings of everything, especially now, since, you know, I'm not like particularly in that kind of scene anymore. But I can tell you that there are people still behind these like VTuber models and everything. And I love my community so much because you've always made me feel like I was a human behind the model. You've always made me feel like I was a person behind Kyrio. So thank you very much. It means a lot to me, and I love you guys so much for that. Like, it's, I think, better that Kyrio looks like me IRL as well, because it kind of makes people, it kind of helps them connect a little bit better, because Kyrio does look quite a lot like me in real life, and sometimes I'm a little scared to go outside in fear that people might recognize things. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to say, and you guys are great. I love you all so much. Thank you for kind of being here and for listening to me. That's pretty much all that I wanted to say on the VShojo situation. And if you're only here for that, that's it. Do you feel better getting that off your chest? I feel better, but to be honest with you, I internalize things very well. My feelings very well. Like a lot of my trauma, it helps me to talk about it, but it's not also like I don't necessarily need it. And I've felt okay with it, you know what I mean? Like, people always just spread shit about me all the time. Like, that's the whole VTuber scene, you know? Like, people just spread shit about each other all the time, fake shit about each other all the time. It's really awful. Like, it's either you spread fake stuff or you just exaggerate so much that it becomes like terrible, and it just happens everywhere. So it's not fun, and it makes things difficult. And you know, I've decided like that's why a lot of my friends are outside of the VTubing sphere. Yeah, a lot of my friends are outside of the VTubing sphere, because I've kind of given up on trying to make so many friends in this sphere. And I don't really care to make a lot of friends, because I'm just me. Like, why do I need 20 different friends? I just need a few. And a lot of my friends are just random ass people. You know what I mean? Like random, like, and that's how I care. Like, that's how because I'm a random ass person too. That's how I want it to be, you know? Like, I just want to be friends with like, you know, I find it easier to be friends with like, I don't know, bro, just one random dude working at like, you know, like one of my friends he works at 7-Eleven, and I talk to him a lot. Like, he's really cool. You know, a lot of my friends are musicians as well. And that's fine with me. I don't mind that, you know, like that's just, I feel how genuine connections are made. And I think that's how life should be lived.